With the latest BBC News for the West Midlands at 10, I'm Warren Moore. Good morning. New to BBC Radio WM this morning, and bin workers in Birmingham have voted to continue taking industrial action for another 6 months in the long-running dispute over pay. BBC Radio WM's Carly Swain has the latest.
Unite said its members decided to extend their action past local elections in May and into September. The workers have been taking industrial action for more than a year and have been on all-out strike since last March. Agency workers hired to help with collections have also voted to continue taking industrial action, said Unite. Birmingham Council say they're pressing ahead with reforms to refuse collections.
The bin strike is potentially going to go on until September. Unite workers have voted to extend strike action beyond the May election. September is the date we are talking about. How does that make you feel as a resident of Brum? We're going to speak to Unite the Union, Onay Kasab, in a minute. Right, morning, 11:14, it's Ed James here. I know we're talking bins again, but we always seem to be. The story has moved on a little bit. Unite workers have voted to extend strike action beyond the May elections. This will be up until September. So it's pretty much, well, in March it'll be a year since the all-out strikes. They've been ongoing for over a year now. Over a year where we've seen the headlines. We've seen rats as big as cats. You will have seen it yourself. You open the door and there's rubbish there. It peaked a few months ago, but it's still not back to normal. Recycling is a big issue as well. The reputation of the city and the region is a big issue. And now we hear today the strikes may be here until September. Let's speak to Unite's national officer, Onay Kasab. Onay, good morning.
Good morning.
Frustrating news if you live in Brum. Why have you voted to extend these strikes?
Well, we haven't had any indication yet from the council that they are willing and ready to talk. We have been saying for a very, very long time now that there is a resolution here. All it takes is for the council to meet us, and they are continuing to refuse to meet us. Now, we are a democratic organisation. So we go back to our members, check how our members are feeling, reballot our members, and that's what we have done. And in the ballot results that we've had, that's both for the agency and those directly employed by the council, 100% of those who voted have voted to continue the strike action.
When did you last speak to the council?
It would have been at ACAS in May of last year.
And why did those talks fall down?
Well, what happened then was that we had ACAS talks. We felt that we were making progress, and the council decided to walk away. We'd reached what we thought was a ballpark agreement. The council were then going to go away, do some figure work, come back, write it up, carry on the talks, and instead they decided to walk away from that ballpark agreement that we'd come to.
Did they tell you why?
No, not really. As far as an acceptable reason is concerned, there was nothing new. So we've heard a lot from the council about ongoing equal pay liabilities. Our resolution to the dispute would not have ongoing legal equal pay liabilities. The council have said they want to modernise. We've got no problem with modernising. We absolutely agree. We'll talk to them about that. So there really is no good reason for the council not to be sitting and talking to us.
So the strikes, you voted to extend them until September. Is that because you know the council is no longer bankrupt?
Well, that's one of the issues here. The council also said that they had an equal pay liability of something like 750 million, and now that's dropped to around 250 million. We've heard a lot from the council about the settlement that it's had from central government, and that's great news. But our members are asking us, well, if we've had such a good settlement, if the council are putting all these great statements out there about the future, how come it's still the case that refuse workers face pay cuts of up to £8,000 a year?
How many refuse workers are we talking about?
So the number we balloted here, refuse workers who are directly employed, is 257. On top of that, there are 46 agency staff that have been balloted as well. And those agency numbers are going up. That's doubled from the previous ballot. And don't forget, the agency staff were brought in to break the strike. And yet they themselves have been balloted and they themselves are now striking as well.
But how many are directly affected by the potential pay cut?
Well, every single driver on the council.
Every single driver will take a pay cut?
Absolutely, yes. Every single driver who's employed on the council is impacted by this. This is not a handful of employees like the council made out at the very, very beginning. We always said, they were talking about the loaders and their jobs being taken away in this special grade of loader, what we called the worker. We always said we knew that's not what it was going to be about. And lo and behold, the council comes along and says it's going to cut the pay of the drivers as well. So that's every driver directly employed by the council also faces a pay cut.
We've invited Birmingham City Council to come on the show. Instead, they've sent us this statement from Councillor Majid Mahmood. Can I just read it to you and get your reaction to it? I'm not sure if you've heard it already or not. This is disappointing and will be immensely frustrating for the residents of Birmingham. We have invited Unite on multiple occasions to make a proposal to end the strike, which we would fully and carefully consider, but they have declined to do so thus far. They have also rejected our fair and reasonable offers. All of the 170 former WRCOs were successfully redeployed or elected to take VR. Of the 144, the majority have agreed to accept the new role within the standard 6-month pay protection, with others taking VR or other alternative roles within the service. Given this, it is hard to understand why the strike is continuing. Despite this, we are driving forward our service improvement, set to start rolling out in June, whether or not the industrial action continues. My message to those still taking action is simple. Come back to work. I want you to be part of this new, improved service.
Well,
your reaction?
That's absolutely. Well, aghast, but not surprised. Let's first of all deal with the workhouse issues for accuracy. That's a fire and rehire. That's the reality of it. People had to sign on to say that they were going to carry on working at the council simply to protect their jobs. But the fact that they are out on strike means that was something that people had to do legally to protect their jobs because they were fired and rehired. Those people are out on strike. He doesn't mention the fact that every single driver is impacted with a huge pay cut. Look, as far as Councillor Majid Mahmood is concerned, I've seen a lot of his videos where he's out on a one-man mission to clean up the city. He's not going to be able to do it on his own. What we need is negotiations to sit down and resolve the dispute. Now, they say that they have invited Unite to make an offer. That's not how negotiations work. We get into a room, we close the door, and we don't leave until we've come to an agreement. So it's a bit of game playing there with the language.
Well, the council have said...
Name the date, and we will sit down in a room with them.
The council have said you've rejected their fair and reasonable offers.
Well, there's been only one offer that's been put to the drivers.
Is that right? Because I think in the middle, we hear both sides of this, and I think it's often hard to know where the facts are. So you're saying you've only had one offer?
But one offer for the drivers. I've got a letter from the managing director where she responds to us, and she says in that letter that there's actually only been 2 offers overall. She only quotes 2 offers overall. Why
didn't you take those offers?
Well, it was put to our members, and they were absolutely not acceptable to our members.
Why?
Because it was far, far too low. When you're losing £8,000 a year, the offers that were put were nowhere near compensating those people, even for a relatively short period, for the loss that they were taking. And just as a reminder, those offers were put to our members. So it's not union rejecting those offers in negotiations. Those offers were put to our members. Look, we've taken advice that shows there is a way of resolving this that doesn't break the bank, that doesn't mean there are further illegalities as far as equal pay is concerned. We've shared our legal advice. The council is saying it's being held back by its own legal advice. Well, let's see it.
Well, the council would say here that your demands would leave them with another equal pay bill of hundreds of millions of pounds at a time when they've only just got the books back to a decent place.
And you make a good point, and I think that's important to address that. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Our KC advice is clear. If there was a settlement in this case, because the council have taken the grade away, the grades have gone, we're talking about compensatory lump sums as far as any offers are concerned. There is therefore no ongoing equal pay liability. To suggest that there is...
The council don't accept that. The council do not accept that at all.
No, don't. And we have KC advice that lays this out clearly. And we've made that public. We had a meeting here where we invited the press to come along. There was media interviews with Al Casey, and we laid this out. We haven't had that from the council. And I suspect there's only one reason for that, which is that their claim around their legal advice stopping them coming to an agreement is a nonsense. Look, there was a very, very easy way to deal with this. Our challenge is name the date. Name the date, we will meet you, and we'll get this sorted out.
Have you got the public on your side still?
Absolutely. And the proof of that is that we've been out knocking on doors. And it's not just a few streets. We've knocked on over 20,000 doors so far. And the vast majority understand that people can't afford to take a pay cut of £8,000 a year. And I think when the council are saying that actually there's nothing to see here, that the service is still being provided, that means that people can see who's telling the truth and who isn't.
I think you're right. I think people do understand that, but I think more people just want their bins emptied. This has gone on for almost a year since the all-out bin strikes. Surely we've got to find an end to this soon. It's embarrassing for our city, isn't it?
I couldn't agree more with you, which is why I say name the date and we'll get it resolved. Our members work and live in the city. They are extremely proud of the job they do. They are extremely proud of the city that they live in. They do not want to be out on strike for a single day more. That's why we all need to get into a room and sort it. Simply saying we've offered Unite the ability to put an alternative proposal, it's a nonsense really for press releases. What we need is a date, a time, a venue, and we can sit down and get it sorted out.
And who do you want to speak to? Who do you want in the room?
The decision makers. Now that's the most important.
Who are?
The employer has to decide who that is. Because let's not forget, in the room last time was the managing director, and she wasn't able to make a decision when we were at ACAS. So I do not mind who is in the room from the council, as long as it's somebody who's able to make a decision on that day.
Really appreciate your time. That's Unite's National Officer, Onay Kasab, talking about the bin strikes. If you've just turned on halfway through that, Unite workers have voted to extend strike action beyond the May elections until September. It continues. I wish it didn't, but this is where we're at. So you heard Onay there offering the council to sit back around the table and have a meeting. The council have said they've made an offer and Unite didn't accept it.